You want to talk about how you got started on guitar?
I heard Strange Brew by Cream when I was in like fifth grade, and I just thought that was the greatest accomplishment of mankind, and besides baseball. And so I had to have a guitar, so my parents bought me a really crappy guitar from the Bass PX, and it was acoustic, of course. And so I started to play on that, and then I think when I failed at football in eighth grade, I got my first electric guitar, and it was pretty bad too. It was a Decca, but it was good enough to sit in front of a Eric Clapton record or a Jimi Hendrix record and do the work, learn the licks. So then, really, by then I was starting playing bands and actually get paid to play, and I dug it. I love being in a rock band, and it's fun. And you meet a lot of girls. I suppose the captain of the football team maybe had a better scene, but lead guitar and lead vocal in a popular rock band in Pensacola, Florida was a really good place to be. And then we moved, because my dad was in the Navy, and we moved to another town, Jupiter, Florida. And the kids were all like rich and kind of lazy, and nobody wanted to make a band and get paid to play. And I never really got off on just jamming. I don't want to sit in the garage and jam. I want to work on tunes, get them good, and then go out and play and get paid.
When did you start classical guitar, or did you start fingerstyle first?
No, I don't think there was such a word as fingerstyle back in the 70s. I'm not sure they made that up. I think they made it up in the late 80s or so. You were either an electric guitar player or acoustic guitar player. And if you were an acoustic guitar player, you might be a classical guitar player. And those were sort of these strange druid monk-like figures that could read music. And so I graduated from Jupiter High School, and then my girlfriend was going to go to Florida State, and I was going to, try to be a rock star. And the girl won out. So I went to Florida State, and all they had was classical guitar, so I took it. And really loved it. It was like, this isn't second best to playing Hendrix. This is better, because I like the music. I like pieces that were composed with complexity and with development of ideas, and let's face it, Tchaikovsky writes good melodies, and so does Beethoven, and wow, I was just blown away. And then I heard Wozzeck and Debussy, and so I became a very enthusiastic classical musician. That was in 1974, and I really didn't play anything else. I sold all my gear so I could afford to go to Aspen in the summers and study with Oscar Gillia and Elliot Fisk. And it wasn't until, sort of get a sports car or get a girlfriend kind of middle age where I started thinking, this isn't enough. And I hadn't done a competition for a while. I sort of thought I was sort of over the hill for competitions. And then I started reading these guitar magazines, and I kept seeing the same like 5 or 6 people, and they all had this credential next to them called National Fingerpicking Champion. Now they call it fingerstyle because it sounds a little less hokey than finger picking. But I thought, wow, those guys are getting lots of work. I want to do that. So I entered it, and I don't think they noticed that I was a classical guitarist. I think I sort of snuck through, because I played 2 pieces that I composed that are not real classical sounding. I mean, they're classical in terms of how I compose, but they sound somewhere between rock and roll and and light classical. And then I played El Colibri, which is this fast and loud thing. And then I played a Venezuelan waltz. So then, you know, that fingerstyle world is into bossa, you know, and that South American sound. They didn't know I was playing Antonio Lauro, a real classical composer from Venezuela. So I won first prize, and that was cool. And they gave me, part of the first prize was a pretty high-end steel string guitar. And it just sat in my closet for a long time. And I continued playing the repertoire I was playing, which was mostly pieces I was writing. I started writing in the 90s. And then I started going to the festivals where all these fingerstyle players would be. And I started noticing that they all wrote their own music. You know, I mean, that's what's cool. Classical guitarists don't do it because it's not cool, but it would be cooler if they did. I mean, that's why Dion's is so cool, and the Assad brothers, just to mention a few. But fingerstyle guys write their own music, and they pay you to listen to it by playing a cover. I caught on right away, you know. They'd play a Beatles tune or something, and then they'd say, "Oh, and I wrote this piece," and then they'd play their own piece. And so I started learning covers, and as I'm prone to do, became sort of addicted to it. And now I've got about 100 covers, and I'm trying to stop. I'm on step 3. I'm not going to stop playing the music because I love the music, and you know I spent a lot of time arranging these pieces, and people love it. But I'm trying to not hear a piece and say, "Oh, I have to arrange that." You know, I'm trying to write instead.
As in, have any of those pieces or any of the songs that you've transcribed or arranged carried over into your composition at all? Any inspiration there?
I think it kind of went the other way. You know, I never stopped liking pop music, even as I was a classical fanatic in terms of my profession. And what I listened to for the most part was classical music. But in the car, man, I'd be, you know, whatever was hip, I liked it. Really until Nirvana hit. And I think Nirvana is great music, but I just, you know, for me, I need a little bit of virtuosity in my music. Either the singer or somebody, you know, besides the drummer, obviously. So I already had a lot of pop music in me, so when I started writing music, it was already sort of influenced by the kind of repertoire that I arrange for guitar.